drag my feet on a tire as I'm walking down the corridor. And I know we haven't talked in a while, so I'm looking for an open door. Don't cut me down, throw me up, leave me here waist down. Once was a man with dignity and grace. Now I'm slipping through the cracks of your cold embrace. So please, could you find a way to let me down slowly? A little sympathy, I hope you can show me. If you wanna go, then I'll be so lonely. If you're leaving, baby, let me down slowly. Let me down, down, let me down, down, let me down, let me down, down, let me down, down, let me down. If you wanna go, then I'll be so lonely. If you're leaving, baby, let me down slowly. Let me Could you find a way to let me down slowly? A little sympathy, I hope you can show me. If you wanna go, then I'll be so lonely. If you're leaving, baby.
What is up, friends and fam, and welcome back to another Tales of Wind video. And for this video, let's go over the best setup for a PvE Frostweaver. We can talk about PvP afterwards, but let's cover PvE first. So if you can take a look, this is currently how I have my skills set up, and I like this setup the most just because I have my number 3 and 4 actually on my mouse button. It makes it very easy to cast my buffs and other AoE spells while moving, so I don't have to reach to 3 and 4, although it's not that big of a deal since I don't always have my keybinds on. Just something that if you guys want to continue to main mage, to think about having those keybinds on your mouse give you a small little, I would say, advantage, although there are a lot of good players who use their phones as well. Just a preference thing. Anyway, so let's talk about the skills. So your main DPS skills are going to be Ice Storm, Frostbird, Ice Ward, and of course Word of Elements, and this is going to be a huge DPS buff. So you're going to want to max all of these, and you want to ignore all these other skills altogether. Reason being is we want to dump all of our extra points into whatever gives us a little more padding for our character stats. Moving on, let's talk about PvP setups. So for PvP, it's going to be a little different. We're going to instead be using, so for PvP there are 2 setups that you could use. Now currently this is the one that I'm using at the moment because for the most part I'm not using my buff as much just because I'm not doing a lot of arena, and you generally want the buff for arena. It's true that I am doing arena when it comes up, but I'm not strong enough for it to matter whether I have a buff or not. Ideally, for your PvP skills, you're going to want to pick between Ice Storm, Frostbird, and Ice Word. Now it's a preference, entirely up to you whether you want to go more so like crowd control and CC or just damage. Frostbird does deal a lot of damage, but Ice Storm, or aka Firestorm eventually if you switch, and Ice Word do give you a lot of damage as well. But you do want to eventually, for late game, switch to Word of Elements, because this does work for your transform as well, and it's a huge damage buff. But because I'm mostly playing, so for example, like when I'm playing against some of the tankier people, or when I'm feeling like I need more damage, I'll swap this in. I'm reaching that point now, but we're not there yet. Let me know what you guys think about it as well. I'm always happy to hear what other people have to say about skills, but this has so far been my skill setup, and I absolutely love it because I love having double control skills, and most likely what I'll do eventually is I'll remove Frostbird, even though it has a very low cooldown, which is why I like to keep it, and I'll switch it in for the 50% damage buff, and then I'll keep the Ice Ward and the Ice Storm, and just swap out my the Frostbird for the buff. But for the time being, let's just talk about what I have set up so far. So the one thing you might want to do is swap the 10-5 here for the 10-5 right here, and that would be completely okay if you're in that stage of the game. But for beginning players, this is fine as well. This is extremely important. You're going to want to... Now, you don't have to max this. I actually kept this at 5-5 until I had the extra points to do so. The only reason I started putting more points into it now is because when I don't have that healer with me, it's very nice to have the extra life regen. The difference here is that instead of putting my points into all attribute mastery, I'm actually putting it more so into the damage, decrease the damage from transform, since transform deals an insane amount of damage, and more into the advanced blink percent health regen, just so I can have a little more. So as a mage, you just die so quickly and so easily. So this will give you a bit more of a advantage. But you want to basically go, if you do decide to go Frostbird instead of Ward of Elements, you're just gonna go max your Ice Storm, max your Ice Storm passive, same with Frostbird, or your buff and the passive as well. Your enhanced blink is your most important PvP skill by far, and most of the time when I'm fighting in PvP, it's too bad Treasure Hunt isn't coming up. I could have showed you guys real fast. I'm most of the time fighting off screen. It's not that far away. Maybe I'll try and get some clips. Most of the time I'm actually fighting off screen for a lot of these fights. And yeah, but you guys really, the damage that people do from transforms is insane. So for example, you run into a paladin who just won't die and he transforms and one-shots you out, and you really want to mitigate that. This is just the easiest way to do so, is just decreasing that damage from transform. Classes like paladins just don't have much of a way to deal damage other than their transforms. So removing that option for them really mitigates a lot of the option. Like it makes them absolutely useless. I ignore paladins who are the same or lower BR as me. They don't deal damage. I mean, I can't kill them either, but they're never gonna kill me unless they just need to make room for the other classes. Hopefully that helps. We can talk about gear and stuff later. There's a couple of options for mages for gear. Ignore this. This isn't the set I'm going for. Same with cards. There's a lot of options for cards. I'm starting to understand more and more about, mid-maxing for your cards and how to really make your character strong. It's absolutely nothing to do with your BR whatsoever. It's actually completely related to your stats, and stacking similar cards on each piece of gear is what gives you the most amount of strength for your character. So for example, I have a Fardus here, and then I have a second Fardus on one of my other pieces of gear. Where is it? Here we go. Here's one. Here's another. And Fardus is really good because of how the damage to debuff targets actually works. The way the calculations go in, it gives you more damage than actual, just straight attack percent, etc., etc. But to keep this short and simple for now, you basically want to stack the same cards. So you want to stack anything. You want to stack Fardus. You want to stack Black Cat. Anything that gives you crit, attack damage, attack percent, those offensive stats are what you're looking for. And the goal is to have all your stats not too scattered from place to place. And this is a bit of a ramble, but just because my thoughts are all over the place, I'm more than happy to eventually make a video down the line with more organized detail for all this as well. But yeah, whew. Seeing as we went on a bit of a tangent, hopefully I won't confuse everybody out there too much, and hopefully this was a little helpful to everyone out there as well. There's a lot of great things about this game. I hope you guys are enjoying it. I hope this video was helpful to some of you, and yeah, have a great day, and I'll see you around.